Hey, how's it going? Listen, I'm Rob Woodrum. I'm the pastor over at Eastgate Christian Fellowship, and most of you who are visiting this blog would already know that. Last Sunday, as I was teaching, I made a statement that I realize has a potential of maybe putting people in a position of being disconcerted. I talked about how we as Christians have a need to get into the Bible. I talked about how we need to be studying it for ourselves or reading it ourselves. But I really didn't elaborate on it any more than that. And the potential exists, as I could see it, is that somebody could walk away from that and think, man, I want to do that. I want to get into the Bible. I want to be able to rise up to that challenge, but I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what to do. And so I'm going to do a little video thing with some helpful hints for you. If you're not a Bible reader, maybe you're somebody who already knows how to study the Bible. Maybe it's just something you've set aside or whatever, and so you'll know what to do with a challenge like that. But maybe if somebody's just not familiar with getting into the Bible at all, and it occurred to me that this could be helpful. This is for someone who is really not that familiar with Bible reading. I don't plan to go into all the technical details as to why some translations might be better or preferred over other translations. That's something for someone who's really going to get into some in-depth scholarship. I'm just talking about as a Christian, as a believer, wanting to be familiar enough with this story, wanting to know what it says so that we can be able to follow God and live in a way that's going to be in harmony with Him. So that's what my plan is here. The danger is that somebody could hear that challenge and say, oh yeah, I got to get into the Bible, and get excited about it for a moment, and then grab the first Bible that they come across, their mom's old King James version, and sit down with it and start trying to read, just flopping that thing open anywhere. And that in itself could put somebody off.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, When a bullock or a sheep or a goat is brought forth, then it shall be 7 days under the dam.
That's not going to help anybody. And so what I want to do is give you some helpful hints in terms of where you might want to start and what kind of a Bible you might want to use. When it comes to the Bible, there's just so many different choices that we have to look at. So many different versions that are available to us out there. Which one is going to be the right one? Which one's going to be the most beneficial? Well, I know there's a lot of people who get really wound up about specific versions of the Bible. A lot of times you'll come across someone who says, well, if it's not the King James Version, then it's just no good. It's not right, because the King James is the only version of the Bible out there. But in reality, if you come across somebody like that, smile and compliment them on their suit or something, but don't try to get into an argument with them. There's just no settling some things. It's like trying to bring peace to the Shiites and the Sunnis. It's just not going to happen. So the best thing to do, from my opinion, from my standpoint, if you're not a Bible reader, if you're not familiar with it to begin with, I would set the King James aside. I wouldn't mess with that. Now, you might be interested in the New King James. On Sundays, that's what I teach out of. I like it for the antiquity. I like the idea that this translation has been around that long, and yeah, there's some questionable things in there, but here's my opinion about the whole deal when it comes to the different translations that are available to us. This is how I see it. God is big. He's really big. He made this. We also know that he's good. We know he's good because he did this for us. So if God is big and God is good, then I think it's highly probable that he's made sure in his bigness and goodness that there is a revelation that falls into our hands, a revelation of God's will that we can grab a hold of and that we can read, and we don't have to worry about it. Personally, I just don't think that anybody can get in there and screw up the Bible enough to where it's of no value to us anymore. I don't think that there's a translation going that a person can't get saved by. I don't think there's a translation out there that could stop a Christian from being able to follow God and doing what he wants. I know that there's a lot of translations that maybe have political agendas behind them and they're promoting something else, but I believe the basic core of what it is God is trying to communicate to us is still there. It's still in that Bible. A good example of this is the guy that went into the mission field, found this tribe of Indians out there that had no concept of the word bread. They never ate bread. They never made bread. All they ate was this rice substance, this gelatinous goo that was the basic core of their sustenance. And so when he goes out and shares the word with them, he's trying to tell them about how Jesus said he's the bread of life. Yet they don't make bread. They don't even have any bread. And so he's got to try to translate that. So in that culture, when he's presenting Jesus as the rice of life. But the concept is still the same. I believe the inspiration of the Word goes far beyond just literal word-for-word translations. I believe the inspiration of the Word comes down to the idea that the story is this big, and that God is behind the story, and the story in and of itself is the thing that is going to put us on the right path in the right direction. So how can you really monkey with that too much unless you eliminate the story altogether? And that's the big deal. We get so wound up about different translations and different texts that we're going to use, and we get scared that we're going to get in the wrong way, and the enemy is able to keep us from ever even looking at the story to begin with. So we don't want to do that. We want to get into the story. So let's take a look at what I would recommend to you. If you're not a reader, if you're not somebody who's gotten into this on your own, what I'd recommend to you as the Bible to pick up and begin to read.